It's Rob DeBoer with your Friday Fitness Tip from Prove It in honor of high school football starting up. 2-a-days, hot, sticky, sunny, awful out, which makes it the greatest sport on the planet. We are going to do a little chalk talk where I'm going to draw up some diagrams, some slides that I put together to help you better understand a topic that I think is super important, and it'll help you expand and grow your conversation as you see the application for ketones as a viable fuel source now that we can drink them with Keto OS, our ketone operating system from Prove It. So, we're going to talk about insulin resistance, and insulin sensitivity. Those are three topics that if you hear Dr. Nally, Dr. Carden, Dr. Andra, any of our specialists, those will come across, and sometimes we'll just gloss over it. It sounds too scientific. It's really not. In fact, our specialists are excellent at breaking things down. I wanted to add a few diagrams to help it make sense, but more importantly, to help you see the relationship with the foods you eat, whole foods versus processed, and the difference that it makes in your body. Anytime we can make our body work, that's a good thing. Anytime a machine does what our body was supposed to do, i.e. processed packaged foods, that's a bad thing. So, the first diagram is going to illustrate just our simple formula. We've got a cell, we've got bloodstream, and we need to take what we eat from the blood into the cells to make energy. So here we go. When we eat food, it converts into a fuel source called glucose. We all know it well, the other being ketones. There's two and there's only two. That glucose, as you'll see, can't make it into the cell because it runs into a door with a lock. And that lock needs a key that we'll call insulin. Insulin is created when we call Mr. Pancreas, the locksmith. He's going to start knocking out some keys. We start unlocking the doors, and glucose leaves the bloodstream into the cell where it creates those energy-looking molecule graphics that I put on there. Makes ATP, adenosine triphosphate, the energy currency of your body. Now, let's look at another example of how ketones come into play. Well, now that we drink ketones, you'll notice when ketones are in the bloodstream, there doesn't appear to be a lock on the door. So, we don't need to call Mr. Pancreas. We don't need to wake up the locksmith. We don't need any keys to make it through the door because there is no lock. And not only that, you'll notice there's more of these energy molecule graphics on the inside of that cell. That's because ketones create more energy output, more ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Sounds fancy, let's call it energy. Ketones make more of that with less oxygen, one of the necessary ingredients, than glucose. So, there is a easier pathway towards better energy using ketones. As you can see, glucose needs keys, needs to call the pancreas, pancreas needs to create some keys, needs to unlock the door, they make it inside the room, the cell, and it makes a little bit of energy. Ketones, we don't need to call anyone, we don't need keys, we don't need to find the right way to get in, we just go on in, we walk through the doorway, and we make more energy. Pretty simple, pretty basic. So guys, that's the power of the product we have. I talk to people all the time and they ask, well, am I burning ketones or am I burning carbs? Well, you're burning both, but here's what I would tell you. Calorie for calorie, let me ask you this. Which form of energy do you want in your blood? Do you want one that requires additional steps, even to the point where people can become insulin resistant? What does that mean? Well, as we eat processed food, remember a while back I talked about we got brown rice. Flip over the package and it just says rice. And then we got Uncle Ben's steam in the bag rice. Well, this has already been processed. One of my mentors, Jimmy the Fat Burning Coach Leach, says a machine has already done what your body was supposed to do. So if I were to eat the whole food rice, there's a process. So there's a slower release of that glucose into the bloodstream because my body has to process that food. That's a good thing. When I eat processed foods, and a machine has already done that, glucose dumps in quickly. What does that do? It makes us call quickly the pancreas, get a bunch of keys in here. Well, over the course of time, we keep doing that, those keys wear out. Next thing you know, we need another locksmith. We got to call someone else for backup. We need to make more keys, i.e. type 2 diabetes. So, as simple as looking at the ingredients on the back of your packaging, if you learn nothing else from this, understand, if you control and own your insulin and how to keep it sensitive to the foods you eat by making choices that are single ingredient whole foods, foods that take time, effort, and energy to break down into glucose, that's a good thing. So, that's your Chalk Talk for Friday, first week in August. Super excited to be with you. We'll continue the conversation next week as we get into type 3 diabetes, aka Alzheimer's.